Hey Reddit. I never thought I'd be the guy posting here, but here I am. I, 34M, have been married to my wife, 32F, for 6 years. We met in college, and I honestly believed I had found the one. She was smart, funny, driven, all that stuff you want in a partner. We had our fair share of arguments like any couple, but nothing that ever felt unmanageable. At least, that's what I thought. Lately, though, something's felt off. She started working late more often, said she was buried in deadlines and too tired to talk. And okay, I get it, life gets busy. But she stopped doing the little things. No more morning kisses. No more random texts. I'd ask if everything was okay, and she'd snap back with "Why are you being so paranoid?" That's what she always said, paranoid. I figured maybe I was being insecure. Maybe I needed to back off and trust her. So I did. But that was my first mistake. Something in my gut told me things weren't as innocent as she made them seem. And unfortunately, I was right. But I had no idea just how deep the betrayal would go. The first clue. It all started with a charger. I know, sounds stupid, but that's what tipped me off. One night she was asleep, and I couldn't find my phone charger. I figured I'd borrow hers, so I grabbed her purse. That's when I noticed a second phone, a cheap burner-looking thing, jammed into a side pocket. It wasn't her work phone. It wasn't her regular phone. It was something else. I didn't open it right away. I stood there like an idiot, staring at it, heart pounding. Who the hell has a secret phone in their purse? My brain was spinning. For a second, I thought, maybe it's old? Maybe she forgot it was there? Yeah, right. When I finally turned it on, no password. Just open access. And that's when everything collapsed. There were texts. So many texts. From a guy named D, stuff I can't even repeat here. Filthy, flirty, downright disrespectful. And dates. Hotel bookings. I felt like I was going to throw up. That night, I sat in our bathroom, door locked, just reading her lies. I didn't sleep. I didn't cry. I just sat there. Numb. The lies began. The next morning, I didn't say anything. I couldn't. I felt like if I opened my mouth, I'd explode. But I watched her closely. She came into the kitchen like nothing happened, smiling, humming, dressed way too nice for a team meeting. I asked her where she was headed. She said, "Just work, babe. Big client today." Client? Right. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw that burner phone on the table and watch her squirm. But instead, I just nodded. "Good luck," I said. She kissed my cheek. I almost flinched. I waited until she left. Then I did what any betrayed man would do, I started digging. I went through our shared computer, her iPad, even our shared calendar. She had been deleting entries, whole days wiped out. Hotel bookings matched the messages on that second phone. She'd lied about everything. Work trips, girls' nights, even family visits. It was all a cover for D. And you know the sickest part? She wrote about me in those texts. Called me boring. Predictable, even said, he'd never leave. He's too soft. Soft, huh? She didn't know what was coming. 4. Her slip-up. 2 days later, I got my chance. She said she was going to a late yoga class. Strange, she hadn't done yoga in months. But she left the house in full makeup, wearing that black dress I bought her last Christmas. Yoga. Sure. I followed her. She didn't see me. I stayed a few cars back, heart racing the whole time. I wasn't even sure what I'd do if she met up with someone, punch him? Scream? Film it? I didn't know. She drove across town to a small hotel. Not even a nice one. The kind of place you rent by the hour. That's when it hit me, this wasn't a one-time mistake. This was routine. I parked, waited a few minutes. Then I saw him. D, tall, smug, slick hair, looked like he stepped out of a bad cologne commercial. She hugged him like she hadn't seen him in years. Then they disappeared inside. I took pictures. License plate. Her walking in. Him too. And then I left. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted her to lie to me again. Just one more time, so I could burn her whole fake world down. Tell me again. Where were you? She came home that night smiling like nothing happened. Tossed her keys in the bowl, kissed me on the head, and grabbed a yogurt like it was just another Tuesday. I sat there on the couch, watching her. My heart was pounding, but my face stayed calm. I'd practiced in the mirror. "So, how was yoga?" I asked casually. She didn't even flinch. "Great. I feel so refreshed. We did deep stretching today. Really needed it." "Deep stretching. Right." I sipped my drink. "You didn't take your mat." She blinked. Just for a second. Then smiled again. "Oh, the studio had extras. You always forget things like that." I nodded slowly. "Weird, because I called the studio. They said you haven't been there in over 8 months." Now her smile dropped. "Why would you call them?" she snapped. "That's really invasive. What, are you spying on me now?" There it was. The turn. The offense. "I just thought it was strange you dressed like you were going to a dinner date, not yoga," I said. She stood there, blinking fast. "You're being paranoid again." Paranoid. That word again. This time, I smiled. "Oh, I'm way past paranoid now." The walls start crumbling. She tried to spin it. Of course she did. "You've been acting weird lately," she said, crossing her arms like I was the problem. "Always questioning me. Snooping. That's not healthy, you know." I laughed. Actually laughed. What's not healthy is sneaking off to motels with a guy named... Her eyes widened. For the first time, she looked scared. "What are you talking about?" she asked, but her voice cracked. I stood up and pulled my phone out. "This is you," I said, showing her the pictures. "And that's not yoga." She stared at the photos, jaw clenched. Then she did what she always does, lied again. "That's not what it looks like. He's just a friend." I was comforting him. "His mom just died." Her go-to move, weaponize guilt. I said nothing. Just stared at her. "You've been distant," she shouted suddenly. "You don't even touch me anymore." I needed to feel something. Ah, there it was. The blame shift. "I worked 2 jobs while you finished grad school," I said quietly. "You felt nothing while I paid our bills?" She didn't answer. She just grabbed her purse and stormed into the bedroom. The silence that followed? That was louder than any scream. When love turns into strategy. She stayed in the bedroom all night. I heard her crying once, maybe twice. I don't know if it was real or just for show. Either way, I didn't care. Not anymore. I slept on the couch. Well, not slept. I stared at the ceiling, thinking about every time I defended her to my friends. Every time I said, "No, she's just tired," or "She's under a lot of stress." What a joke. I thought about the time I caught her texting late at night last year and she swore it was a work group chat. She even cried back then. Said I was controlling. And I believed her. I think that's what hurts the most. Not the cheating. Not even the lies. It's the fact that I doubted myself for so long just to protect the image of her. By morning, she came out. Puffy eyes, hoodie on, like she was the victim now. "Can we talk?" she asked, quietly. I said, "Sure. Let's talk." But not before I hit record on my phone. If she wanted to play games, I was finally ready to win. Confession or performance? She sat across from me at the kitchen table, sipping tea like we were about to discuss weekend plans. I had my phone recording in my pocket, just in case. I wasn't taking any chances. "I know I hurt you," she began, voice trembling. "But it wasn't supposed to be like this." I said nothing. Just stared. He was just someone I met at work. It started as venting. Talking. You and I weren't connecting. She always spoke in vague half-truths. Nothing clear. Nothing real. "You had sex with him in a motel," I said flatly. "More than once." She flinched. "It wasn't just about that. I felt invisible with you." There it was again, the victim card. The rewriting of history. I asked, "How long?" She looked down. Whispered, "Almost a year." A year. I felt the floor fall out again. "So while I was planning our anniversary trip," I said, "you were sneaking around with some guy from work?" She nodded. A tear rolled down her cheek. I didn't care. "I don't know why I did it," she whispered. "Maybe I was just scared. Or selfish." She was trying to humanize her betrayal. But at that point, I didn't see a wife anymore. Just a stranger wearing her face. The calm before the storm. After her confession, she asked if we could go to therapy. Therapy. Like that would erase the images burned into my brain. Like sitting on a couch with a stranger would somehow fix the fact that she gave her body, and worse, her loyalty, to someone else for an entire year. "I still love you," she said. "We can work through this." I looked her dead in the eye. "I don't think you even know what love is." She started crying again, but I had nothing left for her. No comfort. No softness. I was hollowed out. But here's the thing, I didn't yell. I didn't rage. I didn't pack my bags or kick her out. Instead, I smiled. Because in that moment, I decided, I wasn't just going to leave her. I was going to ruin the perfect little world she built on lies. I started documenting everything. Screenshots. Bank statements. I even contacted a friend in IT to help me pull backup messages from our cloud storage. If she thought I was soft, she was about to learn just how cold I could be. Setting the trap. I started playing it cool, pretending like everything was fine. I went to work, came home, acted like the perfect husband. But inside, I was planning. Every message she sent, every move she made, I tracked it. She didn't suspect a thing. One evening, Dee texted her, asking to meet again. I waited until she left the house, then followed her, this time with my camera ready. I filmed the whole thing. The hugs, the whispers, the secret smiles. When she came back, I confronted her again. This time, I showed her the footage. Her face went pale. "You think you're so clever," I said, voice low. "But I'm not the fool here." She broke down, crying harder than I'd ever seen. But I felt nothing. No sympathy. Just cold satisfaction. I wasn't going to let her off easy. Not after what she did to us. Let her think she's safe. After that confrontation, she changed, or at least pretended to. She became overly sweet. Made me breakfast, sent cute texts during the day, even suggested a fresh start trip together. It was disgusting. She thought I'd caved. That I was buying into the let's fix us routine. But behind my smile, I was calculating every move. I quietly met with the divorce attorney. Laid out everything, the photos, the burner phone, the videos. The lawyer looked at me and said, "This is gold." Turns out, with the evidence I had, I'd be walking away clean, and she'd be lucky to get anything but her suitcase. She had no idea I'd already opened a separate bank account. No clue I'd removed her name from the house paperwork she never bothered to sign. She was still living in my home, eating food I bought, sleeping under the same roof. While I quietly dismantled the illusion of our marriage behind her back, piece by piece. Let her play the loving wife. I was 2 steps ahead, and her little show was about to close. When the curtain falls. That weekend, I invited her parents over. Casual dinner. She was surprised but acted thrilled, probably thought I was finally healing. I made steak. Poured wine. Laughed at her dad's awful jokes. She beamed like everything was normal again. Then I stood up, raised my glass, and said, "To trust, the one thing you can't rebuild once it's broken." Everyone went quiet. I pulled out a small envelope from the drawer and placed it in front of her. "Go ahead. Open it." Inside? Printed screenshots. Hotel receipts. Messages. Pictures. Her mom gasped. Her dad went red in the face. She stared at the papers like they were written in another language. Then she looked at me. "You ambushed me," she whispered. "No," I said calmly. "You did that to yourself." Her mom started crying. Her dad asked to speak to her alone. I just stood back, arms crossed, watching her entire mask crumble. Later that night, she screamed at me. Called me heartless. Told me I humiliated her. "I trusted you," she cried. I laughed bitterly. Yeah? So did I. She didn't sleep in our bed that night. And for once, I slept like a baby. Checkmate. The next morning, she tried to flip the script, again. Tears. Apologies. The whole "I made a terrible mistake" performance. She even offered to quit her job, block Dee, go to therapy. She begged. But I was done playing her game. I calmly handed her a manila folder. Inside, divorce papers. She froze. "I already filed," I said. "My lawyer will contact yours. I've got everything documented. All of it." Her eyes welled up. "You're seriously throwing this all away?" I shook my head. "You threw it away the moment you gave another man the parts of you that belonged to us." She screamed. Called me cold. A monster. Said I was ruining her life. But I wasn't angry anymore. Just done. She packed a bag and left the next day to stay with a friend. I watched her drive off without saying a word. Then I sat on the couch. In silence. And I breathed. For the first time in months, the air felt clean. No more lies. No more fake kisses. No more second-guessing my worth. She was out of my life. And I was finally free. What healing really feels like. The days after she left were quiet. Unsettling at first. I'd gotten so used to the tension, the lies, the fake affection, silence felt like a stranger. But slowly, it turned into peace. I started doing things I used to love. Took long walks. Reconnected with friends I hadn't seen in years, the ones she always claimed were bad influences. I even signed up for a kickboxing class. Anger needs an outlet. I also cleaned the house top to bottom. Threw out every trace of her. The perfume on the nightstand. The photo from our wedding. Even the stupid mug that said wifey. All gone. And you know what I realized? I never really knew her. Not the real her. I knew the version she presented, charming, warm, loyal. But behind the scenes? She was manipulative. Calculated. Selfish. The hardest part wasn't losing her. It was accepting how badly I betrayed myself, by staying blind for so long. But now? I look in the mirror and I'm proud again. Wiser. Stronger. Sharper. And I made a promise to myself. Never again will I beg someone to love me the way I deserve. My advice to anyone reading this. If you're reading this and suspect something's off in your relationship, trust your gut. It's not paranoia. It's your instinct screaming at you when logic fails. I spent over a year gaslighting myself, defending someone who wouldn't even defend me. I kept waiting for her to change, for things to go back to how they used to be. But people don't just change. They reveal who they really are when they think you're not watching. I learned that love without loyalty is just manipulation in disguise. And betrayal? It doesn't come from your enemies. It comes from the ones you hand your heart to, thinking they'll protect it. So if you're in that place, confused, hurt, doubting everything, take a breath. Take a step back. And remember, you don't need them to be whole. Leaving wasn't easy. But staying would have destroyed me. Now? I'm rebuilding. I'm free. And I'll never settle for less again. If this story hit you deep, don't forget to subscribe for more raw, real stories like this one. Your support helps bring truth to light. See you in the next one.